Okay, today is April the 1st, 2016. Right now, in the foothills of Los Angeles, we have a barometric pressure of 30.05. That's on the rise. We have a temperature of 54 degrees. The relative humidity is 82%, and the dew point is now 49 degrees. And we can see that we have a couple of systems here. We have developing Gale right here. And we also have another developing system out here, and we've got low pressure up here. And we have a blockade of high pressure being installed because of this jet stream flow, which is moving right towards Southern California, but it's being blocked. We've got a very large area of high pressure building in preparation for all of this weather here. So, and we can also see that there is a transmitter applying heat right here, most likely microwave. I believe that it's my contention that microwave is being used exclusively on all these systems, including those thunderstorms that we were looking at here just a few days ago. It's just a much more efficient way to get the job done. It can be done day or night, regardless if the sun is up or down. These microwave transmitters are very effective, and they also work at very specific frequencies on water vapor. For instance, the water vapor reacts most efficiently. That is, the microwave energy is most efficient in water vapor at 22.5 gigahertz. It will heat the water most efficiently right there at that specific frequency, 22.5 gigahertz. Also at 187 gigahertz. So that is the most efficient absorption frequency band for water vapor, atmospheric water vapor. So if we have a spectrum analyzer with some good tuned antennas that can listen at those specific frequencies, we could hear and confirm. We could actually listen and see, or act, not listen, but look at the screen, the spectrum, and see, exactly what's happening in that frequency band. Also, the oxygen atom reacts to microwave energy at specific frequencies, and mainly that's the 61 gigahertz frequency. So we can heat the oxygen molecule reacts right at 61 gigahertz microwave energy. So that's another frequency we could take a look at on the spectrum analyzer in specific spots that are being targeted uh, on land and also out at sea. And since I don't have a ship, and I wouldn't think about going out here in one of these storms to, check things out, I'd rather do this onshore. But the point is that I don't think that HARP transmitters are actually being used to heat the cores of these uh, storm systems. It just doesn't seem to be in the cards because of the frequencies that the HARP transmitters, as we know them now, operate in. The ground-based HARP transmitters that I've read about only function between around 3 to 10 megahertz, maybe a little, maybe 2.5 to 12 megahertz is the entire band, and that is not sufficient to heat water vapor. All right, so that's my own feeling about what's going on here. We've seen the microwave attacks on these thunderstorms. We can see that clearly in the visible light mode, and also the effect it has on the storm in the water vapor, and also the infrared mode. We can see that very clearly. So why wouldn't they use that same technology to do what they're doing right here and out over here? They would just instead of pinpointing that energy, they could focus a beam that's much has a much larger aperture. You don't have the instantaneous heating when you broaden the aperture, but you can still effectively heat a very large area, using microwave. And they're probably doing this with coherent microwave, which is a highly concentrated form of microwave, much like a laser is a coherent light, and you can instantaneously heat objects with laser light. So Whoops, lost the signal here. Hang on. Here we go. All right. Okay, so let's look at some of these other maps. We can see that there's a blockade right here. We'll take a look at that. This is the infrared loop for the Northeast Pacific, and we can see these systems are winding their way down towards the west coast. And we did have some chemtrails today in Southern California, but that moisture field has all been cut off. We can see that all this moisture is now moving way up into Canada and back down sort of diagonally through the U.S. to the southeast. Now things have been forecasted, the weather has been forecasted to be much warmer this next week because of all this high pressure building in to block any chance of rain moving in off the Pacific. All right, here is the western, water vapor loop, and we can get a better idea here of the size of this developing gale. This would solve a lot of problems with the drought in Southern California, but they're not going to allow this system in either. We can see the high pressure this is just walling up right here. We've got basically a radar generated a blockade right there, and all this water vapor is just evaporating. There is a little bit of spillover right here. We can see that, but this is a zone that has been built in, and they're not going to allow this to move in. We've got a developing gale right here, and we also have something going on right over here. This is a counterclockwise spinning system. Okay, so let's take a look next at the this is the infrared loop, and we can see that this entire area, the entire southwest, has pretty much been cleared out of any water vapor. There's some stuff right here. We can see a pocket of water vapor, moisture field right there. Okay, let's look at the jet stream, and we can see there's a disruption in the jet stream right off of the west coast right here. Otherwise, this would be moving straight into California and delivering rain, solving a lot of problems with the drought. All right, let's take a look next at the surface analysis map. And we can see this is a rather complex chart here tonight. We can see that there's no less than about 7 separate high pressure centers. We've got one here, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's one right out here, number 6. There's about 6 of those, 6 highs, and then we have several lows. We've got one here with several troughs, 4, I believe, 4 big troughs. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lows right over the west coast, and we have pockets of high pressure in strategically located places to deal with this low and its trough. And we've got another low here and one here with a trough shown. So this is kind of a crazy looking chart, but nonetheless, there is no rain forecast. Despite all of that weather offshore, there's no rain forecast. So we'll have to. Now things could change. They always do. But we'll just keep an eye on things. All right. Here's the sea level pressure analysis. You can see there's a huge area of high pressure. This entire area right here is all 1,020 millibar. This huge pocket of high pressure, and then we have a 1,024 millibar center right there. Okay, and that will effectively block everything that's moving in right here, pretty much. And we didn't have many chemtrails today. They were long trails, but they didn't stick around long. So that was interesting. It was almost like they were using some different type of mixture. All right, here's the 500 millibar chart. We can see clockwise rotation around these ridges, high pressure, and we've got a low right down there off of Baja, Mexico. And here is the 300 millibar. pretty much the same. All right, next let's take a look at the SSEC water vapor map. And we can see some of these aerosols being laid out offshore right through here. Now, we woke up with headaches this morning and very irritated sinuses, and that was because of all the chemtrail activity that was blowing in through Nevada, Idaho. Everything was moving down this way from that jet stream pattern. So the sky was not a deep blue. It was sort of a pale blue, and we did see chemtrails, but the key thing is the sinuses and the headaches we get from breathing that stuff. There's a lot of spraying going on here, and also in that flow that was horseshoeing around. We had a big horseshoe pattern yesterday, and that was all coming down through this way, and so they had this all sprayed, and that was blowing in, and that's what we were breathing yesterday and this morning. Okay, next. And we can see that high pressure is effective. It's blocking a lot of this flow here. So we're going to have to keep an eye and see what happens. It's sort of inching closer to the coast. And that will mean that we'll see a lot more jets out spraying possibly tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens. Okay, now here's the MODIS Today map. Most of the Southern California area have been whited out. So we cannot see LA. Here's San Diego right here. But if we just pan offshore, we can see that these natural clouds right here are being sprayed. Now, if we go out a little bit further here, we can see the chemtrail mix right here. This off-white stuff is all chemtrails. This stuff right here, all of this stuff. This is all chemtrail mix. They're spraying this over the tops of these natural clouds, the brilliant white stuff. Okay, so that's pretty much it for tonight. Not much else to report. We'll go ahead and do another update tomorrow, Saturday. Okay, that's it.